In this video, I'll show you an old Hollywood technique to create a soft focus effect using a pair of tights. For this project, we're going to employ an old Hollywood cinematography technique called netting. Using a pair of tights, we can create a diffused, soft focus look for our images, and we can also create lighting that evokes that glamorous, dreamy quality reminiscent of old movie star headshots. This technique can be employed either in the studio or out on location, but we've stuck to the studio to show how lighting is affected. For our first shots, we've hung some fairy lights to illustrate. You can achieve this effect using any camera and lens, but for our shots we've used the Canon EOS R and, since we're shooting some portraits, we paired it with the Canon EF 85mm 1.8 lens. For our natural light shots, because it's winter, we raise the ISO to between 320 and 400 and we open the aperture right up to f1.8, keeping the shutter at about 100th to avoid camera shake. For our flash shots, we were able to keep to the base ISO of 100. You can use any make of tights or stockings, but filmmakers favour the Swiss brand Fogel, particularly its tool pattern. Simply stretch part of the leg section over your lens, secure it with an elastic band and cut off the excess if you want to. A looser stretch will produce more diffusion and a tighter stretch will produce less. Here's our non-netted natural light image for reference. When we use white tights, it's primarily the shadows and the midtones that are diffused. When we use black tights though, it's primarily the highlights that are affected this time. You'll also notice a little bit of starbursting. Again, here's a non-netted reference image with a strong light source shooting into camera. With white tights on the lens, we get a very strong starburst as the material diffuses all that light. With black tights on, the starburst is much more subtle as the light is more controlled by the darker material. Now let's get those dreamy Hollywood headshots. Here's our non-let image shot in mono. Now we've introduced a speed light at about a 16th power. It's overexposed because netted lenses lose between a third and half a stop of light. When we use white tights, we get a more faded, ethereal look as the light diffuses through the material and lightens those shadows for us. With black tights though, we've pumped up the power to about an eighth as the material is soaking up so much of that light, but it gives us a much more punchy and contrasty look. To find out more, check out PhotoPlus issue 149.